Hi everybody and welcome back. This is a video making from my location here in the north of Sweden, and fully snowstorm, extremely nice, And well, actually, I cannot work as much as I want because I had some minor problems. One of them happened here. I hope you can see that. Under that, there is a wound that I made holding a big electric cable, which completely cut out completely my thumb and that part of my hand. And I could not reach the first aid emergency room because the weather conditions are absolutely prohibitive, and I don't think that for such anyway small wound I can do that. We are currently half-meter of snow here, and I just a little sad because I had a little disappointing problem with my friends from Alfa that I was waiting so much one of their sample, to build up, to make one of the nice build up from their items. But we had a misunderstanding about the postage, so currently that item arrived to Italy to my colleague, which I will not be there for at least 4 or 5 months now. So we will see about that build. They said because I was waiting the Ferrari 296 GT3, which I hope they can send me here, and the same item I anyway bought one extra for myself anyway, despite the sample from the companies, and I was waiting for the Titan. So right now I decided to keep on with some of my models that I started in the previous location in Sweden, and it is this Alfa Romeo GTAm, which I converted into the version with the muscular body shell, and I wanted to do this type of exotic livery, that is made basically with kind of test. I like to test some new technologies when I do models, and I had an issue, because I finished the body. I think it was the last year. If you check my YouTube or my social media, I think it was something that I finished in February or March of the last year as a body, plus the wheel coming from they are the nice wheels coming from USCP, from Ukraine, from Misha, and they are very nice, which I just added the not ordinary, because they just provide the wheels, the rims, and not the proper tire, and I found that it was fitting extremely well with a very low profile rubber tire that here. They look extremely nice, and fit perfectly to the wheel. They will make it that gold bronze color, typical for this Alfa. The wheel is extremely well done. The guy worked very well. It's anyway, I think, starting after a 3D part, and the tire was indeed coming from a Tamiya. I guess it was coming from a Lamborghini Countach, probably. I know it was. They are their tire included in the Fujimi Lamborghini Countach, which probably feature a 295 Cinturato. They don't write the measure there, but I think it was in the real car 295. Were one of the first LP 500 Lamborghini Countach. So the body I made here, it is the version without the scalino on the front end, as a friend pointed out in one of the videos, and this is the version with 4 front wheel lights, so the real 2000 GTAm. And for the livery I wanted to have something, because also Tamiya provide a decal sheet here, if I found somewhere here. You see, this is what you find inside the box. This was a box that I actually bought in Sweden as soon as Tamiya made the reissue of that wonderful Alfa GTAm. GT Junior, basically. It is not a GTA, it's a GT Junior, and inside the box you will find this nice decal set, with the Bichone, with the snake, the typical symbol, but I wanted to do something a little more impressive. I found a model made in black I think it was in a German competition from a guy that also wrote me on the social media, which I take a lot of inspiration. I made a much harder conversion, much deeper conversion on the body, was looking much more like a modern racer, you know, much more aggressive, but very nice GTA in my opinion. And it was painted in flat black with this Alfa Romeo logo, and I took that idea to save this Alfa Romeo logo that were actually coming from a very old sheet that I took from a defective Alfa 155, as you can see. This was the red Alfa 155 V6 Ti driven by Nannini and Larini in 1993. So it's the first Alfa. You remember that Tamiya made the 93 car and the 96 car. So there is missing 1.5 years because basically the 95 car was very similar as a Alfa 155 and talking, you know, to the following model that Tamiya made, you know. But I had this decal set that was completely destroyed, you know, when you place the decal sheet into water and it immediately disintegrates, you know. So I found a little modeling tip that you can all collect, that if you apply a quite heavy layer of Tamiya Tia 13, this is the ordinary Tamiya gloss over, you know, and you let it dry completely, you will create an extra layer over your decal that will be protective, you know, for that decal sheet. And basically I could save nearly everything from that logo, you know. This was the big one that they had. This already have a layer of Gunz GX100 over to make it glossy and shiny, plus a little polishing powder compounds even from Tamiya. And I think the livery is extremely nice and extremely particular, you know. So I apply the logo of Alfa Corse on the front and on the rear hand, and the number 7, that should be the Nannini car if I'm not wrong at the time, and saved some of the extra logos to do something like this on the main windshield, plus Molotov chrome silver plate on the corners, you know. This is basically what I find in Italy in a shop selling everything. It's a Schneider painting, but if you look closely where it have been made, it's made in Germany, but it's there, made with the Molotov technology. Molotov technology, it is one of the best ever that you can have for chrome, you know. They just don't last so much when you take away the plastic and you open them, because they are very sensitive to air, so it's very difficult that you can finish one paint. But this is already going on because it's more than 1 year that I use it constantly, and it's really giving a pretty nice effect of chrome silver. This is also here, this is the rear frame, you know, for the rear windshield. So it's basically, you neither need the mask that they provide inside the Tamiya kit for this model, you know. I also am dealing with the idea to make something a little more racing for the interior set, you know, for which I completely took it away, all the seat inside, and tried to recreate part of the structure in the metal structure, you know, of the cockpit of the GTA. Plus half roll cage, you know, still unfinished. This had been made with wood, you know. I used a slightly technology that you can also try, you know. They are on the size of 2 mm wideness, you know, that is basically the size of a toothpick, which I found that if you are able to make it extremely hard at using cyanoacrylate glue, the ordinary cyanoacrylate glue that we use for photo etched set, like this. Here they call it super glue, but it's basically the cyanoacrylate super glue. And you can make the wood from the toothpick extremely harder, and at the end it will basically react like a piece of plastic, because if it is a stone hard, you know, not in the soft, not like the ordinary wood that you buy, because then it will be nearly impossible to paint. It's too much draining color and paint inside, you know. But if you can make it harder, as I said, with the cyanoacrylate glue, that will be much more easy to try to find something like this. Of course, the upper part that is slightly bended to fit the roof had to be made anyway in sheet styrene from Evergreen, you know. And I was out of stock with the size of this roll cage, so that's why I wanted to test this one. And I think as soon I will paint everything here in that red, you know, using a darker base to make it look much more like a darker red. Also the car there had that much darker side, not to look bright like a Ferrari. And I think it matched completely to the Alfa Corse color, you know, and react also quite well with the gloss paint and so on. As well as I'm preparing, because the car will feature, already feature, you know, by our own, the motor, where I simply had the cables over there, you know, from the starter unit going to the plugs. And the base is of course this one in the dark gray, which I will paint later with airbrush with Alclad color to make it in aluminium and some metal details and so on. So this will be anyway quite visible at the end before I fit the radiator inside, you know. And last but not least, of course, the providing of a proper racing seat, as this one. This have been a cast that I made some years ago with a friend, making basically copies still from the Alfa 155, so it basically matched with the livery, and I made them in white metal. Plus I opened the holes for the side seat belts, as you can see, and it's a Recaro seat for the 90s, the racer of the 90s, so I think it fits. And of course I modified a little also the door panels to make some insert like that, that can be aluminium or something in metal, we will see during the painting. You know, it's absolutely nice because you have the freedom to decide whatever you want with this type of models. You don't have a guide. It's something that I wanted to basically use to take a pause between all the serious, in bracket serious builds that I was making before, and I was really hoping to get the sample of the Cayman GT4, which currently arrived in Italy, and I can absolutely not use now, you know, to make a build of that model. Or if the guys want to wait me, I will make it probably during the summer. But here the summer is different because, you know, there is so much to do, and with a property like this where I am now, I'm constantly on a tractor working outside, so we will see about that, you know. It's something that we have to sort it out. As I hope they probably will go for another sample posted simply here, and I will build from this location. So that's it, guys. I hope that you like this foolish idea. This is something that we in Italy we usually call really terrone car, terrone really Italiano car. It have to be really Italian looking, you know. And I think really the line of the GTA, it's really really taken here, and the look is absolutely very nice for this little and ultra fast and fascinating car of the 60s. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I salute you with the proper thumb, because the other thumb is still with a 5 cm cut all over around there. I hope that it don't make infection. That will be a major problem here. That's it, guys. See you in the next one.